Hello, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful, or the first round, I believe, of the Eastern European Drift Cup here at the Raubichi. There we go. It's the pronunciation. The Raubichi circuit. I know it's a kart course. And, along with my really good friend Craig Fulgham. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, Tanner?
There we go. Still
Again,
getting,
as you said, we are here at
difficulties.
Raubichi.
Yeah.
And at the
There we go.
Winter Olympics training facility. And an awesome layout we have here. And here is the driver's list for today. Be broken up into several groups. 4 drivers per group.
Hear me, Craig? Okay. Alrighty, so we are here for presents EEDC, the Eastern Champion Drift for qualifying. Sorry for the little hesitation there in the beginning. Qualifying nerves, you know, the stream, you get a little quickly to answer a lot of the questions. Russian live stream can be found at vote.tv. You'll be hearing that a lot today. TV. Well, that is where you will. So we're here at the Olympic training facility by sponsored Energy Match, Voca T-Trade, and Ticket Pro. So we are here for qualifying. See the first group of cars coming up to the. Our first group here is going to be Jedaminas. She brought me all of a sudden. You did the event on the screen.
As you said, drivers coming up, a wet course they have to deal with as well. And a very technical course, a very line focus from the judges today. Judges said they want to see drivers filling these outside zones completely today throughout this course. And we've got 3 of them along with a touch and go. So drivers will come through the bridge and initiate. Lead needs to get around a little no-go area and into the first touch and go, and then out to the first outside zone. Transfer into outside zone 2, and then back into outside zone 3 to finish the course. And just 2 decel zones here as well. One coming into outside zone 1 and coming into outside zone 3. We've got our first driver up at the line now.
Yeah, we definitely do. My sheet said it was supposed to be Jeremiah, but farther back, it's so trust. Ready for his first cameras to get all kind of in. This again, and his first initiation. Whoa! Going around. Right through that first touch and go and spin around. So that will be his first run. Wet down there. Now that I see it, that is a way steeper downhill than I thought it was. So that's going to throw a lot of these out.
Yeah, it sure is. As you said, just super slick out there today. And drivers need to certainly be careful, as we saw with that very first run. And here we go with Levikas coming down through the bridge here. And entering in nicely here, getting out to the first touch and go. And into first outside zone. And riding that white line there. Transitioning across, getting out to outside zone 2. Here's that next decel zone. Very nicely into outside zone 3. Careful for his first run. And there he goes across the finish line. First driver through the course today.
We see the replay there. Try to get replays and qualifying. Craig normally tears down these replays, but I'll give it my shot here as we see it in. He's doing a good job with the car control with how well there. And as these throughout the day, the drive line will start for right nice him to the transition to this outer zone and then to the final outer zone. Little pull there to keep settled, but very, very good car control from us in that.
Here we go, third driver. Camera hasn't switched to him yet, though. And here we go. Here again, the S14 looking good so far. Nice transition across. Not quite filling outside zone 2, but a good transition here into outside zone 3. Leaves it just a little bit, but works their way back out to the edge of the track there and across the finish line.
So hopefully my microphone problem. Still hear me, Craig? Am I all good on you hearing me?
Yeah, I sure can. Now, as far as stream goes, yeah, it does seem like some sort of issue is going on there.
Well, I'll try this run down as we see the SNet there through the second half of the course, coming through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2, and then sell into outer zone 3. Again, very good car, trying to keep it, little washout there, almost dropped a tire, putting it over the what, keeps it straight, and nice and sideways all the way to the end.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that. Apologies. We're going to get Tanner just reconnected here. And I'll take you through our next driver, Timur Lipsky here in the 8.6. Hanging out there very nicely. Again, judges wanted to see these drivers fill these outside zones into that second area of the D-cell. Working his way through that last outside zone. Really tough out here on this slick course, but doing a great job there is Timur. We'll have to wait and see what his score will be like. Here we go with the replay. See him enter really fast here. A really wide, drop a tire, hang on to it, and make that good transition across here. Almost dropping a tire along that track edge, but again, judges wanted to see him all the way out here. Could have been a little closer to the wall, but again, this is just his first run. And today, drivers are going to be able to do 3 runs of qualifying. Each judge will be scoring 0 to 100, and the average of those 3 scores will be that driver's qualifying run.
Let's now test with the mic check 1 2.
Yes, you sound a lot clearer, Tanner.
No problems. That's okay. We got them figured out. Go. Yeah. Well, you know, now that I'm seeing the touch and go, I was watching him when he dropped that. That's just a wall right off of that ledge.
Unfortunately. Go with Silvestris Bilauskis at the line, waiting to be sent off. And here we go. And run 2 for Silvestris. Remember, spinning out on his very first run there in that first touch and go, but getting through nicely on his second run. Ooh, tough transition there through the middle of the course. And again, having some issues with the car here. I'm not sure if that is going to get a score on the board, as he certainly straightened up through those 2 transitions. We'll go back to the replay here. He does get through the touch and go this time around, not quite getting all the way out there. You see him initiate in, back on power, and then leaves that touch and go a bit. Gets into the first outside zone nicely here. Again, here comes that transition. Ooh, and there, yeah, just really close to a straighten in, but this one here for certain has to somewhat reinitiate there. So I have to wait and see if the judges do end up giving him a score. Definitely could be some rain rules. I'm not sure. I have to take a look through the rule book a little bit further, but we've got Levikas at the line and ready for his second run. Very nice looking S13 here, entering in, and look at there, all the way out to the edge. Nice transition into outside zone 1, right on the edge of that track. Hard to see from this angle. He is filling that zone nicely. It's outside zone 2 very well. And look at there, right on the edge of track, once again, working his way back out there, trying to fill that entire outside zone 3. He does just that, following that outside line all the way to the end of the course and finishing it out for a fantastic second run. Go with that replay and look at that, right out to the edge. Fantastic initiation and a smooth transition into that outside zone 1. As well as here. Really tough getting out to that wall in these conditions. I don't blame him for not getting all the way out there, but certainly filling outside zone 3. And maybe my favorite run of the day so far here in this first group. Again, drivers are getting 3 runs, which, yeah, tires should be okay with being so wet today. It looks like the rain has let up. Maybe we can see it dry up.
All right, well, we'll see if my mic is working this time. The S15 here of Chevrolet. Oh, really not making that inside zone. The exit zone. First outside zone. Well, come back this morning into the side zone. Coming through for the final transition for the third one. Looking on the e-brake, getting it out there. Really committing into that last one. Oh, almost over, but right stops and finish out the run.
And here we go back to that replay here. Initiating in and not getting out to that first touch and go. And coming up short on the first outside zone as well. All the way through that first turn. Transitioning across, just squeezing into that second outside zone. And then a good transition here into the third one. Slight adjustment there, almost going off, but hanging on to it. And driving through to the end of the course.
So up next, Dmitro Parhamenko. Down to that track edge, GT86 on the last go. Learned his lesson and then up through outer zone. One now. The transition into the flowy, but holding that angle nicely. We see him come into the final great transition, but he's going a little too far inside. There he goes, starts pushing his way out, making a lot of adjustments, but online, very slow, bushing out the run.
Yeah, a decent job here on this run from Parkhomenko. Entering in there, getting all the way out to the edge of the track. Nice transition across, but does look like he drops just one tire over the edge there. But again, these conditions certainly is slick out there, filling outside zone 2 and looking good here. And another nice transition into outside zone 3. Does start to leave it in there. We have a correction and then starts to work his way through the rest of the course there and across that finish line. So not too bad for Parkhomenko.
And that's already going to screw the drivers. Now, one down, a few more to go. So 8 already down Group 1, so on to Group 2 here very shortly. So here the scores in for the first 2 runs. For Dmitro, run 1 and 87.17 for run 2. So it looks like there are runs for the day, so we'll see if they reline them back up, and they are going to. So we are going to get through them. Fix your mic. Yeah, I hear you, chat. We are trying to do it. I'm in control of how it gets fixed. So we're letting our guy there in Belarus right now to hopefully start up a new VMix call to get this mic fixed. But as we have here now, Silverstress in his BMW, looking a little more time on the initiation as he comes in to that first outer zone. Good, keeping it on the lock stops, and let's see the transition way than his first 2 runs. He's got to be happy with this as he heads a little bit to that last outer zone off the transition, but slowly working out. And pylons. As he dropped out of the white crosses line for the qualifying run.
Yeah, this time making it through the course here. Here we go with the replay entering in. Not quite getting out to that first touch and go, but does look like he's going to get a score for this third and final run here. Looking good through that first outside zone. Makes the transition here into outside zone 2. And then a little hesitant there, but he looks to get through it. And then drives out of that outside zone, works himself back out to the outside, grabbing a couple of cones on his way out and finishing the course. So I have to wait and see from those judges if he'll end up getting a score for that, but I think he will. We'll line the next driver up for their last and final run of the first group.
So Valerie Chevrolet in the S14 going qualifying run off the start and in on the bridge into the first touch and go. Nice, not as far out as you know, but it makes a good transition zone one, and he's holding it really just open way through quite track as he transitions to the side zone and keep conservative for the things that we have here. Now final outer zone, that's where he starts to really creep into that outside. He's doing a job keeping it on that white line way to the finish.
Message. And here we go with that replay here. Yeah, Dominguez entering in again, not quite getting out to that first touch and go, but really tough here with how slick this track is. I mean, you're really playing with fire there, getting all the way out to the track edge, almost filling outside zone 2, and looking great here through outside zone 3, all the way out there to that white line, and not managing to hit any cones on his way out as well. Around to Barkomenko.
Yeah,
This 8-6.
And our fighter of it's nice and right out there. Good, very good. Reds she's going one. He's looking like he's getting comfortable out there. Remaining condition up out of zone 2. Little hesitation as he goes into the wall, but keeping a nice inner transition out of zone 3. Little bobble there. Tries to put to that line, but hold so nicely. He's on the throttle and finishes final qualifying run.
Here we go with that replay here. Again, getting out to that track edge, riding that white line through the first outside zone. And once again, looking very good here through outside zone 2 in his third run of the day. Back on throttle there in that outside zone. Massaging it across that finish line. Great run to finish off the first group. So there is the end of the first group. Again, 3 runs in. Look at that. Edomenis at the top with an 89.67.
And here we
go. Oh.
Yep. Here we go for the first group 2, putting it right out to that track edge. I believe this would be Denise. Konevsky. Oh, spin it in all into outer zone 2. He's really on it. He has all the points, losing a tail light as he's on a bank for his first qualifying session.
Yeah, first driver really filling outside zone 2 there, but maybe a little bit too much as we go back to the replay here. Really fast entry all the way out to the edge. Great driver control there. Nice transition into outside zone 1 and filling this zone very nicely all the way through it. And here we go, that transition across and all the way out there, stuffing the bumper. Very small correction needed. And right back into outside zone 3 and just hammered down throughout this whole entire run, just bouncing off the limiter. There he goes, finishing out his first run of the day and first run of Group 2.
These guys, same livery livery, so I'm wondering if they're all teams or drive for the same. Let's see if they take out the same rear bumper. See, Namov. Andre ready to go for his first qualifying run. Wet, and it has already shown it can catch some drivers out. Let's see what Andre can do here. Send him off in the BMW as he comes down the hill and through the bridge and ready for touching. We already seen the car drop a tire there, and that is but he stays far away from it. See transition to zone 1, but leaves it super early, taking a huge inside line zone completely, transitioning to outer zone 2, pulling it up good. Now for the final transition, let's see it. Gets into the zone, holds along that up, maybe now feeling out the course, starting to understand what the grip levels are like, and finishing this run of qualifying.
Yeah, and as you said, first run, playing it safe. They've got 3 runs here, and he does make a very big mistake here in his first run in that first turn. Well, really second turn in that first outside zone. So he makes this transition here, maybe a little bit too much angle when he brings back that throttle, and it just drives forward, maybe even dropping a bit of tire on the inside of the course, but does well in outside zone 2, makes a nice transition here into outside zone 3, and just works his way through here, feeling the car out, as you said, and getting across that finish line. Again, judges very line focused today and want all these drivers filling these outside zones. But again, it can be tough with how slick it is. So we saw the very first run of the day, drivers spin out, and a couple go too wide here. And here we go with Sergei Sak entering in almost all the way out to the edge there. Nice transition across into outside zone 1. Almost dropping a tire there, but instead running the edge, running that white line, almost getting out to outside zone 2, not quite making it. There it is, the last and final transition of the course here. Small correction there. Seems to be quite a puddle there that's giving the cars a little bit of a hiccup through the course there, and there he goes across the finish line. Yeah, and just still trying to work through our technical difficulties with Tanner's microphone there in the live stream. Hopefully we can get that resolved here shortly. Next, a cool little car at the line here, orange E30, driven by Denis Lopko.
And Dennis here's going to throw it in. Not get right out to that outer edge. He's going to play a very conservative run, going to the far edge on outer 1. Inside line, missing that zone completely. Now he's going to transition to outer zone 2, and ooh, the wall, setting him right off. He straightens the rest to read in, and just completely where to go, kind of shutting it down there at that final turn. It's maybe a 0-4.
Yeah, unfortunate to see, but again, they've got 3 runs today, and this is just his first here. And we'll go through the replay here, entering in very safe, not getting out to that first touch and go. Transitioning in for the first outside zone and negating that one as well. Now it does get all the way out there to the wall, gives it a little tap, and then as you said, just sort of shuts it down, feels out the rest of the course there through that last turn for a bit. and he'll go back to the line and get ready for his second run. Driver at the line, ready for his second run. Looks to be jamming out over there in his car.
I was like, what is he doing in there? He's having a good.
Absolutely.
Dennis Cover sitting on an 87.7 for his run. I mean, that's where he was flying. He's flying all the way out track edge and touch and go one. A good zone one. Now into outer zone two. He didn't concern that wall. I mean, he doesn't have a back for a anymore. Going on the end for zone three. You can get nice middle right out to the line. Good job getting the car through that G Drive S13.
And here we go with the replay with Klishevsky entering in, almost getting all the way out there to that edge, but makes a good transition, goes a little wide there, holds it together, and stays on course. And just beating that car to death through this course here, just banging off the limiter everywhere he goes, taking out a cone, and back on throttle through that last and final outside zone. Massaging it through. There he goes, finishing it out for his second run. A team of cars here. All looking fantastic in this gray and orange.
Looks like they are all part of the G Drive cert. Back up, and he is sitting on a 0. First run. Gotta do some commitment. And what she does going into touch and looking a lot more controlled around. Now they probably bubbles up and run. Now only gonna come on Dre. So he comes in outer zone 2. They're holding that angle. Catch the lights out, and he leaves that and goes back into it. He comes up his second run of qualifying.
Here we go, back around to Sergey. 370 here, looking great through outside zone 1. A little bit of that supercharger go off, almost filling outside zone 2. But again, nice line here, especially considering these super wet conditions, and looking super slick through that last and final outside zone. He finishes it out strong for his second run of the day. Here we go, back around to the replay here. And almost getting all the way out to that touch and go. But again, looking great through outside zone 1. As we said before, these judges want these drivers completely filling the outside zones. They're coming up short for outside zone 2. But doing a great job again through outside zone 3, trying to rack up those points and get to the top of qualifying. But it's going to be tough after that first group there.
This group really really put on a show, but out of this one, Dennis Klishkevsky, so bear with us. He went all out on his and really showed. I know what I'm the wet. Let's go have some fun. Slow going for his run. Again, real line from that first outer zone, outside zone 1 as he comes in outside and over rotate, shuts it down. That'll be it for his second qualifying run.
Yeah, he's got a lot to do on his third and final run as we go back to the replay of his second run here. Entering in, coming up really shy of that first touch and go, and then really slow to rotate into that second turn for outside zone 1 and not making it out there. Does again make it out to outside zone 2, but this time over rotating just a bit. I almost wonder if he maybe expected to catch the wall a little bit and turned into it, which maybe led to the spin. But he's got another run, so we'll have to wait and see if he's able to get some points on the board and get a qualifying score.
Hope is seeing a better and a tail light. Drive S30 ready to go. Here, Dennis, out that touch coming through outside zone 1, very off. Team takes the transition into outer zone 2, scraping the wall with what tail light. He had lost it in his first run as he into outer zone 3. He was holding down the throttle, moving it off the limiter all the way through to the end.
And here we go back to the replay, and I believe we're going to get a side-by-side of both his runs here. You go second run on the right here. Getting into outside zone 1 just a little bit late. Working himself through there. Nice transition out to outside zone 2, grabbing the wall just a bit. And a nice transition into outside zone 3, hanging on to it. Driving all the way through there and staying on the outside through the remainder of the course as he crosses that finish line. I see a couple of you asking if Gotcha's gone yet. He sure hasn't. Looks like he is going to be in a later group today. Second to last group today. That'll be group 7. Here we've got Andre back at the line. Off in the E46 here. Entering in strong. Oh, picks up that throttle and drives away from that touch and go. A little hesitant on the transition. Just seems like he's got a ton of grip in this car, even though it is really wet out there. This thing is just driving right through it and just wanting to drive straight. Now hangs on to this last and final outside zone well, though. But again, we know it's super slick here in this final part of the course. Car's really slowing down for that big sweeper. But there he goes across the finish line and finishing it out for his. As we work out Tanner's issues there, we'll go back to the replay here. And again, you see just picking up the throttle and driving away from that first outside zone. Transitioning across and just flying through the course here, much quicker pace. And I imagine the track is drying up just a bit, but as we see getting into this last and final outside zone, cars really slowing down there, just creeping across that finish line. But I imagine he'll get somewhat of a score on the board there. Just again, tons of grip in that car. Here we go, back with Sergey Sak at the line. Here, that supercharger through the tunnel and entering it in. And getting all the way out there for that first touch and go, and nice into outside zone 1. Ooh, hesitation there, gets back into the throttle. Good transition across, isn't gonna quite fill outside zone 2. And slow transition across, but he's gonna get all the way out into outside zone 3. And there we see where the cars are really slowing up, creeping through the course. There he goes across that finish line. Again with the replay, supercharger screaming through that tunnel. Giving up maybe just a foot there on the edge of that course at that first touch and go. There's that small little correction. Again, that thing just singing through the course and through this last and final outside zone. Good run from Sergey, very aggressive. And here we go, run 3 for Denis. Needs to get a score on the board here. Coming through the tunnel. Entering in. Grabbing that first touch and go. Playing it safe through the course here. This time staying away from the wall. Oh no! And a very quick straighten and shutdown from Denis here in this orange E30. Unfortunate to see all 3 runs for him, somewhat getting shut down, or somehow getting shut down. One, we had him get into the wall just a little bit and straighten up. Then we had another where he spun out at outside zone 2 just after the wall. And then here coming into outside zone 3, looks like he was going to get some points on the board. There is, he goes to pick up throttle. Sounds like it, the car just sort of fell on its face and drove straight, and he just continued with the rest of the run. I believe that's going to do it for Group 2. So 8 drivers in the books with all 3 of their runs. We'll see those up on the board here in just a moment. And here we go, Roman Kondratenko at the line, ready to go for his first run. Fantastic driver here in his 180SX. And doing fantastic at NEZ, and here he is for EEDC, getting all the way out. Oh my goodness gracious, took me off guard here. All the way into the throttle and off the limiter. Not quite filling outside zone 2 and getting all the way into outside zone 3. Again, super slick there, but hanging on to it. And he'll finish it out for his first run. Fantastic run from Roman. He's pumped up. Here we go with the replay here. Entering in on that outside, then picking up throttle hard, transitioning across and into outside zone 1, and just firing off. Very aggressive here. just as we saw in NEC as well. Very aggressive transition, almost going too far there into outside zone 3, but again, manages to hang on to it and finish it out the course. Very great. Here we go, Pavel Kapshai at the line, ready to go in his E30. Looked to be very well set up the last round at NEC. And entering in, not quite out to the first touch and go. Good transition across. A little careful there through that first outside zone. Smooth transition across. Going that next outside zone 2. Taking out one of the cones there as he leaves outside zone 3. Ooh, and very close to straightening out across that finish line. Judges might have to take a look at that and determine whether he'll get a score for this run. I mean, again, really close to the edge there across that finish line. Here we go with the replay, entering in to that first outside zone. Again, just a little careful through there. Transitions across. It doesn't quite fill outside zone 2. And then making that third and final transition of the course. And there we see him leave outside zone 3 just a bit. And then right there, really close to straightening out across the line. But I think that'll be enough. We'll have to wait and see what the judges determine as we move on to our next driver. Anton Shindarov at the line, ready to go. And just firing off in this S13. Entering in almost all the way out there to the edge for touch and go 1. And really smooth here into outside zone 1. Looking good so far as he makes his second transition of the course here. In majority of outside zone 2. Careful through outside zone 3, not quite filling it all the way to that edge of the track. There he goes across the finish line for his first run of the day. So some aggressive first runs of Group 3 here. And Anton looking good here through the first outside zone. He's smooth throughout the remainder of the course as well. A little slow on the transition there into outside zone 3. Does a good job to hang on to it and stay in the zone. Again, judges want to see him out onto the edge of the track, but it's going to be points on the board.
Well, hopefully he does get points on the board. We're going to try my microphone again and see if we're still lagging or if we have found out the issue. As you see our next driver coming in to initiate for that touch and go. Nice, and out there to that outer edge. Ooh, big snap though, which isn't going to put him into that outer zone 1 as he just starts to fill it near the exit of the zone. Transitioning now to outer zone 2. Nice and conservative, not going too deep. Playing it safe here for this run. A little bobble there as he tries to transition to that third outer zone. Just can't make it happen. Sticking on the inside of it the whole way around.
You sounded great, Tanner. It's nice to have you back on the stream. And here we go with the replay here. Entering in and getting pretty deep into the first touch and go, but really snappy transition there for the first outside zone, leaving him a little short. He does manage to work himself out there, but really late for outside zone 1. Grabs a bit of outside zone 2, transitions across, and then drives off at outside zone 3. and tries to massage it back out there for the outside zone, but comes up just a little short, and there he goes across the finish line for his first run.
Well, it's great to be back and great to not be choppy and all distorted. So for those of you just tuning in, this is qualifying for the Eastern European Drift Cup here at the Raubichi Winter Olympics Training Facility. This is presented by Racing.by and sponsored by Monster Energy, Parimatch, Voca TV, Column Trade, and Ticket Pro. If you're a Russian listener and you're going, where is the Russian stream? Well, you can find it over at voca.tv. As we have Roman back to the line, ready to give his second run of qualifying. Watching that first one, it was very crazy. I was, muted obviously off to the side, and I almost couldn't contain my gasps of how hard he came into that first touch and go. As we see what he can do for his second run. Roman coming in, good flick initiation right out to the edge as he transitions into outer zone 1. Keeping a nice smooth line and keeping it inside of the outer zone as he's going to transition to outer zone 2 now. How deep is he going to go in? About halfway through outer zone 2. One last transition left into outer zone 3. On the throttle, banging it off the limiter, making some adjustments to the line, but keeping it nice and in the zone for outer zone 3.
Yeah, another aggressive run from Roman here as he enters in, getting all the way out there to the edge. What the judges want to see here. Does come up short for outside zone 1, though. But he stays smooth through that section of the course. Getting out to outside zone 2. Sun coming out a bit. Transitions into outside zone 3 with all the angle and hangs on to it. And ends up finishing it out very strong once again.
He's got Pavel back at the line. Good to see him back after the NEZ event. I love this little E30. It was so cool out there. I am right on that, right? I'm learning my BMWs. It's an E30, right?
Yeah, sure.
Ah, good. I was worried when he paused there for a minute. I was like, oh no, he's going to tell me it's something else. I'm trying. As we got Pavel coming for his second run and sending it in. Very nice line up to that touch and go as he transitions nice and deep into outer zone 1. Holding a nice angle. Let's see how he transitions here into outer zone 2. This is the one that's been catching out a lot of drivers, not going very deep into it, but he's going to transition again. Put it right into outer zone 3, but leaves the zone early and holds that inside line. He's just trying to keep it in drift at this point as he comes across for his second run.
Yeah, looking a little bit better here on his second run as we were going to get a side-by-side here.
The replayception.
Yeah. And yeah, this looks like his second run towards the back half of it. There he goes into outside zone 2. A little bit late on the line there through outside zone 2, but transitions nice into 3, but leaves it once again here in his second run of the day. Oh no, that's actually, yeah, that is his first run. Here we go, maybe with his second, and not quite. Either way, certainly an improvement on his first run, I think. I have to wait and see from those judges as we've got Anton back at the line.
And he's blinking at us now.
He has a little bit lazy eye there on the left-hand side of the car.
Say just one lazy eye, not both of them. Lazy eye, not lazy eyes. As we got Anton ready to go for his next run. Not too bad. Out to the touch and go as he transitions into outer zone 1. Holding a good, nice angle through outer zone 1 and a good line as well. As he arcs it around now to go nice and deep into outer zone 2. Now it's just got to hold onto that line for a smooth transition into 3. Puts it right onto the white line and holds it. all the way around, staying on that throttle, keeping his angle. Not many adjustments as he finishes out his second run, and what a clean run that was.
Yeah, it was doing a good job once again here on his second run. Really smooth on his first run. Second run coming up a bit short for that touch and go, but very smooth through outside zone 1. Makes this transition across, trying to get all the way out to the outside for that outside zone 2. Does a fairly good job, and another smooth transition for outside zone 3. Not pouring on a ton of angle here, just driving through that zone, driving through the course, making his way across that finish line.
But he was very smooth. That's one thing I noticed out of his run. It was nice and smooth and consistent. As we have Andre. Andre in his BMW, ready for his second run. As we see him come underneath the bridge. I love that bridge shot into this first touch and go. It's really nice as he initiates in right out to the edge of the course. Huge flick to angle, but not getting it into outer zone 1. Got to get a little deeper than that there, Andre, as he transitions into outer zone 2. Keeps it really conservative, not going that deep into outer zone 2. Big angle correction into outer zone 3 and missing out completely on that wide outer zone and taking that inside line all the way out to the finish.
Yeah, coming up short again on a couple of these outside zones, as we'll get a side-by-side of the replays here. Second run on the right, first on the left. And again, snappy transitions here on that first one into outside zone 1, and leaving him a bit short there for the line. Makes his way through the middle part of this course, getting out to outside zone 2 this time in that second run. But there he goes, driving off of outside zone 3 once again. And there he goes across that finish line for his second run of the day. And that's 2 runs done for this group here, group 3. And they'll get one more try at it. And if you're just joining us, drivers are going to get 3 runs today instead of the normal 2.
I really think that's just due to the weather. I don't think anybody expected it to rain as hard as it did. Looks like a dry line is starting to form on the track a little bit, though.
Yeah, definitely through that first section of the course, but yeah, outside zone 3 still looks super slick.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not sure if that is gonna dry up.
Well, now that I see it is on a slope when they come through that, it might be sloped weird too, where, you know, it might be pooling in other places rather than not. As I noticed on the exit of outside zone 1, it's still pooled with quite a bit of water there. But then, you know, when we look at over at outside zone 2, there's no pooled water. So hopefully that all dries up and we have fun. And that's not the right driver at all. This is Roman. That's okay though. It's the pre-event jitters. It happens. Roman ready for his third run, and Roman's been putting on a show each run he's done so far. There he is. Black Star Penguin Nissan S13. Mr. Roman, as he comes under the hill, already sideways and initiating in. Look at him go as he gets through that touch and go, and beautifully done into outer zone 1. Keeping it nice and wide. Let's see what his transition and depth is like into outer zone 2. Pushes it about halfway through as we see him go into the final transition into outer zone 3 on that limiter, dropping a little bit of tire, but keeping it perfectly balanced along that white line. What a final run.
Yeah, absolutely. As we go to this replay here, firing it in to that first touch and go. Not quite getting out to the edge, but aggressive nonetheless. Very smooth through outside zone 1 as he comes up, transitions into outside zone 2. Doesn't quite fill it all the way there. But again, very smooth and aggressive through this run, especially with these transitions, working himself almost over the track edge there in that white line. But he hangs on to it, and there he goes across the finish line for his third and final run of the day.
So now we got Pavel Kapshai's final run. Again, just love this E30. I'm not, like I said, last run. I'm not a huge BMW fan, but this one tickles me pink.
Yeah, it looks to be set up really well for an E30, as they can certainly be a difficult car to set up with that trailing rear. But he looks to have it figured out.
And also, for those who have joined us and you're wondering, where is the Russian stream? Polka.tv. And that'll send you over to the Russian stream.
Yeah, but it's actually can be found in the description of this live stream.
Pavel's been shown the green flag, and off he goes for the third and final run of qualifying. He initiates in really far out there, dropping the tire, going right up against the wall. Wow! That threw me out for outer zone 1 as he went too far inside and too far inside again for outer zone 2. He's got to be shaken up there. Thought he was losing his car. As we come through outer zone 3, he's keeping it nice and out to the edge, but I don't know if that'll be enough to make up for the mistakes for outer zone 1 and 2. Wow! That was... I'll let you... Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was insane here. And I thought he was writing the car off right there. But he held on to it and kept it going. Does drop a tire over that inner line of the course there. Doesn't make it out to outside zone 2. And there he goes into outside zone 3. Finishes it out strong. So we'll have to see if he does end up with a score, as that was several tires off there.
Well, I hope...
But certainly going after...
I definitely hope his driver's suit is brown, because he's going to need it after that. That was insane, and that is the true form of if in doubt, flat out. As we got Anton coming through his last qualifying run here, as he's changed his blinky lights. They now go left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, as he initiates in and too deep in, bouncing off the wall. Ooh, really hurting the car. He's going to try and initiate, but I think he won't be able to. It looks like he might have broke something there. That was a hard hit against that wall.
Unfortunate to see here as we go back to the replay, going really far on the outside and definitely doing some suspension damage to the car there. But again, this is the third and final run. He's got some solid scores on the board for his first two. Very smooth throughout the course, and he's got time to fix it for tomorrow's top 32 competition.
Lots of time indeed, but hopefully they get that wall fixed in time, as we got Andre for his final qualifying run and the final driver of Group 3. Conservative entry there for him, and going really deep into outer zone 1, dropping out 3 tires. As he keeps it around outer zone 1, now transitions into outer zone 2. Nice line through outer zone 2, but over rotates and spins, and that'll be the end of Andre's run.
Yeah, again, unfortunate to see there, as he definitely needed to put down a good run here for his third and final one of the day. Almost had that transition down after 2 very snappy transitions in the first 2 runs, but then here transitioning for outside zone 2 and just over rotating in that very slick part of the course.
And it was shaping up to be a nice run too. His initiation was really nice. But it's what the wet weather can do. It catches all sorts of drivers out, no matter how good or how inexperienced. So we move over to Group 4 now. Already into Group 4. We are halfway through qualifying. as we have the, now Craig, correct me if I'm wrong, E30, it doesn't say, it just says BMW 320. E36?
46.
46. That's right, it's the
46
facelift one. Haha, learning. Vladimir, ready for his first run of qualifying and leading off Group 4 of the qualifying session here for the Eastern European Drift Cup at the Raubichi Winter Olympics training facility. Given the green flag, and off he goes. Initiating in really wide, putting it right to the track edge. Great transition. Isn't going to be too much, though. Going really wide through outer zone 1, trying to keep control of that car drop. Now into outer zone 2. Nice conservative line through outer zone 2. And now the final transition into 3, but it's too much, and he spins. And that is sad after what was looking like a really good run for him.
Yeah, a couple of little mistakes here before that final spin out there in his first run. Just all the way out to the edge there for that touch and go, but transitioning a little bit late, going too far on the outside for outside zone 1, and even leaving it early. Transitions across, tries to get outside zone 2, does a fairly good job here, and there is the transition here, just a little bit too much angle into the puddle, and shutting it down for his first run.
As we got Mr. Milinchuk back in the beautiful RA64. It was my favorite car from the last event, and it's still my favorite car this one. Let's see what he can do out here, putting it right to the track edge. And this track might be more suited for this car as he's going through outer zone 1, nice and clean. Milinchuk really laying it down here as he transitions into outer zone 2. Nice and clean line, but it's going to be too much, and he's going to over-rotate it and shut it down. Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking after what looked to be almost a perfect run.
Yeah, it was looking really good here for Evgeny. Here we go with the replay. Transitioning into that first outside zone, and right there on the track edge. Smooth transition across for outside zone 2. And there it is, just slightly over-rotating before making his transition into outside zone 3. Unfortunate to see, but he's got 2 more runs to go for qualifying.
Yeah, let's hope he can patch that up and get it working together, because that was looking like a really good run. And next up is going to be Alexander. And does that say a Ford Taurus?
It does.
Wow. That's cool. I love seeing all these cool little unique cars out here. So we see him initiate into that touch and go. Look at that thing. That is so cool. Coming into outer zone 1. Doing a good job to try and keep it within bounds. Dropping a little bit of tire, but it's not shaking him up too much. Ooh, as he kind of gets off throttle there, but goes right up against the wall for outer zone 2. Pure commitment as he transitions into 3. But this is where he's trying to work his way out back to that outer line, but hugging that inside line all the way around to the finish.
Ooh, just as you said that too. I mean, shutting down across the line. Here we go with the replay, getting all the way out to the edge for touch and go, and then into outside zone 1, dropping maybe half a tire there across that track edge, making a good transition across here, a little tentative, but gets all the way out there to that wall. Last and final transition, and drives away off of outside zone 3, tries to work himself back out into that outside zone, and then here we see him shut it down right before that finish line, but I think he'll be all right and get a score on the board. And here we go, Timur Lipsky on the line.
So let's see what Timur can lay down. Group 4 is showing to be an all-out group. They're just putting their foot to the floor and hoping it works. As that last run, he just lined that up and fired it into outer zone 2, and it was perfect. You see track marshals there doing their things. Looked like he was grabbing a photo of the BMW logo. As we see Timur take off for his first run of qualifying. coming underneath that bridge and initiating. He's already sideways under the bridge as we see him get decently far out to that touch and go as he transitions into outer zone 1, starts working his way out to that edge near the exit as he transitions into outer zone 2 now. No bobbles, looking good so far, keeping a good line, a good amount of angle. One last transition to go. Not as crazy as a snap, but it's fluid as he comes through outer zone 3, keeping it within bounds, and now starting to, watch him hit that puddle, and it almost took the front end with it, but he held on all the way to the end.
And here we go, back to the replay. As you said, entering in really early, but still managing to grab that first touch and go and then work himself out to that first outside zone. Making a nice transition here. Little correction there for outside zone 2. And then a nice transition into outside zone 3. Hangs on to it. A little bit of a bobble there. Hanging on to it once again. And there he goes, finishing it out for his first run of the day.
Well, the good thing about a group that knows how to put their foot down is it goes by quick. We're already on the second run. Back around to Vladimir in the E46. For the VVS Drift team, had a pretty good first qualification, so we'll see how he does on a second one. And he's given the green flag and ready to go for the second runs of Group 4. Coming underneath the tunnel now, initiates in, goes really deep, but holds it right near that track edge. Not as aggressive as a transition this time around from his first run, getting through all of outer zone 1 and keeping it nice and clean. Let's see how he does through outer zone 2. Nice line. This is where the mistake happened last time, but it's not happening on this one, as he puts it nice into outer zone 3 and holds it all the way around and up until that finish line. As we just check out the replay here, coming through, again, not many mistakes made. He's just keeping it nice, smooth, and tentative. He's trying to just go for points, get those points on the board, but it's looking clean and fluid. And that's sometimes what you have to do in the wet weather, as you saw on the left side of your screen, him spin on his first run, and then the second run making up for that mistake and really getting it in.
Yeah, good job that time on his second run and getting a score on the board. And here we are, Evgeny back on the line in that Toyota Celica.
Yeah, Evgeny Milanchuk in the beautiful RA64. Again, I will always talk hype about this car, and that's only because I drifted one and owned one for many years. As we see him come to the start line, he had a very good first session, but just overdid it a little bit. Let's see how he does on run 2. Not as aggressive into that and go, but doing a nice job into outer zone 1. Let's see how his transition is into outer zone 2, staying on it. Nice line. Yeah, indeed, this is where mistake was. He made up for it, keeps it within outer zone 3. The final transition's been made nice and clean, and he's holding it, just going a little far inside at the exit, but holding it all the way to the end and getting points on the board.
Yeah, he sure does. Again, comes up just a little short for that touch and go, but manages to get into outside zone 1 very nicely. Really smooth here. Nice transition into outside zone 2. Here he is down into the last and final section of the course, this last and final outside zone. Again, super slick through here. Car's coming almost to a halt at that finish line, but he manages to finish out his second run and, as you said, get some points on the board.
I think a lot of these guys needed after the run 1. But run 2 shaping up to be pretty good here, as we got Alexander back to the line, that Ford Taurus. As he waits for the green flag. I don't know. Did our stream freeze? Oh, there it goes. Maybe not. Maybe they're just standing really still. As we see him take off in the Ford Taurus. I'm looking at my clip notes, and it says that this thing only has 210 horsepower. And if it does, well, he's doing a good job for only 210 as he gets that first touch and go, but missing out on the initiation for Outer Zone 1, or sorry, the transition for Outer Zone 1, coming in a little late, putting it right up against the wall, taking out that cone as he does one final transition into Outer Zone 3, but has to revert to that inside line, and then slowly makes his way back out to that outside line near the end of Outer Zone 3, and crosses the line.
Yeah, good job from him this time as we get a little side-by-side here all the way out to that track edge once again, but coming up short on outside zone 1 in that beginning part of it, and a little bit of a bobble there, but nice transition into outside zone 2, and look at there, putting the bumper into the wall, transitioning once again for outside zone 3, doesn't quite fill it up until the end there. And there he goes across that finish line for his second run. And yeah, I mean, mine says the same, the 210 horsepower, but I don't think that's right either, as it certainly sounds like it has quite a bit more than.
Well, maybe if someone's down there, they can ask him and tell us. As we got Timur going for his second run. He'll come underneath the hill, underneath the bridge, and transition down the hill. Nice through the touch and go. Can he get it into the zone early? He does. Through Outer Zone 1, holding a nice line and angle as he transitions into Outer Zone 2. Doing a great job. Nice and deep into Outer Zone 2. Let's see if he can patch it all together with this final transition into Outer Zone 3. Bobbling a little bit, trying to keep the car stable at angle. Can he hold it? He does, all the way through to the finish line.
Yeah, a couple of little corrections here and there through the course, but not too bad. Almost all the way out there to the edge for that first touch and go, and then works himself into outside zone 1. Here we go with the second transition into outside zone 2, almost out there to the wall. And last and final one, slowly making his way into outside zone 3. Small correction there, gets back into it. And there he goes, finishing it out for his second run of the day.
So that's 2 qualifying runs done, and now on to the third run of qualifying for Group 4. Checking for grip levels, I think the track marshal is.
Could be.
Wiping away a little bit of the water. Let's send these cars, he says, into the radio.
It's like we've got a few drivers ready to go as well. Again, this will be their third and final runs of qualifying here for EEDC. As you mentioned earlier, yeah, halfway through qualifying. I still think we have an 89 at the time.
Ah, there we go. We're just waiting for 2 more cars to make it back up the track. So back around to Vladimir for his final run. He's already shown the green flag, and off we go for the third and final runs of Group 4. Starting it off with Vladimir, he's going to send it in and go really deep right out to that track edge, almost mimicking his round 1 qualifying run through Outer Zone 1, going too wide, bringing it back in for the exit of Outer Zone 1. Good job through Outer Zone 2, holding a nice line and angle as he does the final transition, holding onto it, going out a little bit, then back deep. Just a little shaky as he comes through on that final run, but trying to hold it together and finishing it out strong.
Yeah, he certainly does. And as you said, very similar to his first run, going a little bit wide here for outside zone 1. And it does seem to be 3 tires off So that might be unfortunate for him on this third and final run here as he transitions into that third and final outside zone, works himself out to that white line where the judges want these drivers to be. And there he goes across the finish line once again for the third and final time of the day.
And now Evgeny Milanchuk in the RA64 Celica. Ready to do his final quali run. Showing the green flag. Let's go all out, Mr. Milanchuk. As he comes under the bridge now and initiates in. Right out to that track edge. Beautiful, but overcorrects right off and has to shut it down right at the entrance to outer zone 1. Thank God he was able to get it stopped, as there's a track marshal right there.
Yeah, it really was close. As we go back to the replay, we see him enter in really far on the inside where the judges don't want him to be, and then certainly hits a slick spot on the track and just over rotates and shuts it down for his third and final run. But he does have one score in, as we saw him over rotate in his first run as well. But I think he got a score on his second run.
He did make a full run, so hopefully that score will help him out. We'll see him tomorrow during battles as Alexander goes for his final run of qualifying. Alexander in this Ford Taurus. Good initiation right out to the track edge. Whoa, hesitant though on the transition into outer zone 1, almost like it didn't want to snap around on him. But now we're putting it out right out to the track edge in outer zone 2. Opting for a wider line coming into outer zone 3, but again having to fight with the car to keep it on that outside line and taking out that cone, which throws off the balance of the car and spins him out.
Really close to finishing out that run as well. As we go back to the replay, not quite filling that first outside zone. There he goes, transitioning across, trying to get outside zone 2. Almost out there to the wall once again. There he goes, driving off outside zone 3, and then just slowly rotates here in this really slick part of the course, and unfortunately shuts it down.
And now here we go for our final driver of Group 4, Timur. Timur in his BMW coming under the bridge and initiating already sideways under that bridge. That's scary, as that's pure concrete there, but doing a good job through the touch and go. Nice entry into outer zone 1, holding that angle. That is a lot of angle coming out of outer zone 1. Can he hang on to it as he goes to transition for outer zone 2, but straightens up around outer zone 2 and shuts down that run?
That was really awkward there from Timur here in this qualifying run. Have to wait and see on the replay here as he enters in, does a good job on that first touch and go, gets into this outside zone here, but then I was suspected that, you know, he was getting a ton of wheel speed there, but then when he transitions, he doesn't have any momentum behind it, and just can't really make it out to outside zone 2. It almost makes me wonder if the clutch maybe started slipping, but then you know, if he had too much wheel speed, he would definitely lose a ton of that momentum to make that transition and then later get out to outside zone 2. So that is going to do it for Group 4 of qualifying. We're on to Group 5.
And the first driver of Group 5 at the line.
And Roman Kondratenko at the top of qualifying with a 95 still after that group.
Wow, what a score from him. I mean, but his run was just foot to the floor, turn the wheel. Foot to the floor, turn the wheel.
Absolutely. And it was actually his third run that he got that 95. He also had a 93 tucked in there as well.
So we have Dmitry in his BMW E46. Ready to go for his first run of qualifying. His first time getting out here aside from practice to feel out the course. Getting sideways underneath the bridge. Nice and wide out to that touch and go, but straightens up right away. Oh, almost like a problem. Almost like the car's not even turning as he holds it nice and wide and hopefully gets that car to safety.
Yeah, unfortunate to see. It looked like it was going to be something to watch here as he enters in, gets all the way out there to the edge, but immediately just shuts the car down.
Now look at this GT86.
Yeah, this 8.6 of Constantine looking fantastic here, sitting at the line and ready to go.
And Constantine getting the green flag and ready to go. Or sending it now down the hill and initiating in. Let's see what he can do in that beautiful GT86. Transitioning after the touch and go, but having some grip issues. Trying to get it out into that outer zone 1. Now to transition into outer zone 2. Again, first time out here since practice, so the wet weather's catching a lot of these drivers out as they transition into outer zone 3, dropping 2 tires and taking out some pylons with them. And across the line he finishes.
Yeah, maybe playing it a little safe here for his first run of the day. Remember, these drivers get 3 runs, and here he is into this first outside zone, coming up really shy, transitioning across, trying to get out there to that outside zone 2, and then back into outside zone 3, the last and final section of the course, going wide, dropping a tire over that track edge. We'll see some deductions through a couple of parts of the course there for his first run.
And here we go with Rostislav in another GT86. Oh, and we're getting a replay.
Maybe judges want to take another look at this run here. He does shut the car down fairly early. Maybe that's what they're taking a look at, or maybe here how many tires he dropped. It was close to dropping 2. And then here we see him just shut it down there. We're really close to the finish line.
And here we go with the GT86 of Rostislav. Ooh, shooting some flames off the start line as we see him come underneath the hill. Already sideways, going in for that touch and go right up against the edge of the course as he transitions into outer zone 1, putting it right on that white line. What a run here from Rostislav. Really giving it everything he has on the first run nonetheless. We see him come through outer zone 2 nice and clean in the final transition into 3. Look at that. Right up along the line. What a run this is. As he leaves the zone just a tad early and finishes out the run.
Yeah, not too bad of a run here as we wait on the replay. Here we go. Entering in and getting all the way out to that track edge. Very good transition as well into outside zone 1. And getting all the way out to the track edge just for a second there, driving off and then back into it. We get to watch it in slow motion here. Transitions across. almost filling outside zone 2 there at the wall. Good line here into outside zone 3 as well. Just working himself through that last and final section of the course. Almost driving off of it a little early there, losing a tire out of that box. And there he goes across the finish line.
So we're going to have Sergey up at the line, his S15. Or might be an S13 with an S15 front end. Sergey's going to come under the bridge for his first run of qualifying and initiates in and puts it really deep into that touch and go. Transitions, missing out on the entrance to outer zone 1, but making up for it at the second half as he comes in for the transition of outer zone 2. How deeply put it, keeps it really inside, doesn't go for the danger of the wall as he transitions for the final time into outer zone 3, but can't get the car to cooperate through outer zone 3. Trying his hardest to keep it together. Little misstep right near the end that almost could have ended it, but he held it together.
All the way out there to that edge there for that first touch and go. And then working himself into outside zone 1. Very smooth transition here. A little careful into outside zone 2. And there we see a little bit of a mistake here. Driving off of outside zone 3. And then tries to work himself back into the zone. And there he goes across the finish line. Seems to be maybe struggling a little bit with the power of that car, even though it's wet out there.
Or that could be it too. I mean, the wet does catch out a lot of people, so. So we're going to see Konstantin go again in the GT86. So this would be the second runs now of qualifying. He's given the green flag and off he goes for his second run. Let's see what he can do now. Already sideways underneath the bridge, tries to get out there to that touch and go, can't really make it happen. Tries to get it more to angle into the entrance of outer zone 1, but not really happening, leaving that outer zone really early. Little stagger there as he makes his transition into outer zone 2. Brings it down, holding an okay line into 3. But that's going to put him inside once again as he now pushes to the outside, but can't hold it there. Sticking to that inside line of outside zone 3 and crossing the finish line.
Yeah, again, a little tentative on his second run as we get a side-by-side here. Does get into outside zone 1 just a little bit better, but ends up leaving it early once again. Transitions across, doesn't quite fail outside zone 2, but does manage to get into it just a little bit here. Transitions across. There he goes off the track in run 1, but then on the inside of run 2. Well, that's all right. He's got still a third run to go for the day. We'll move on to our next driver.
And our next driver being Rostislav in that GT86, putting on a pretty good show for his first qualifying run. So let's see what he can do in the second run. So he gets the green flag and takes off, spitting flames once more off the starting line as he comes underneath the bridge, already sideways and initiating into that touch and go. Not as deep as he was in his first run as he transitions into outer zone 1. Really holding a okay line through it as he transitions into outer zone 2. Can he get all the way out there? He can, missing out on the zone. He holds his line into outer zone 3 now, shooting another big fireball there. Holding it on that outside line, doing a good job at filling the whole zone and finishing out his run.
Yeah, it started really aggressive here with that entry, but he comes up shy of touch and go. Gets into outside zone 1, maybe just a little bit too wide, but hangs on to it nicely. Makes a good transition here, but comes up really short for outside zone 2. But then a good line into 3 and holds pretty good pace here as he starts to fall off the track edge there. Hangs on to it once again. And there he goes across the finish line for his second run.
Here's Sergey back around his S13 with an S15 front end. Beautiful looking car. I like the green stripes going up it. It's a nice car. So we see him get off the line. Let's see what he can do for his second run here. Good initiation. Oh, not as far out into the touch and go as he could go. Snapping it to angle for outer zone 1. Trying to keep it together, but definitely heading for that inside line due to that correction and having to back out of it. Well, not back out of it, but get on the throttle, really hold it together. Now he's just almost trying to save this run as that really upset his line. Sticking with it. Look at the amount of tire smoke. We might starting to see a dry line around the course.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it was tire smoke, but there it is, that over rotation into outside zone 1. Yeah, it might be some tire smoke coming off there as he tries to work himself into outside zone 2. And once again, driving off of 3, working himself back out to it, trying to fill that zone as much as he can. And there he goes across that finish line with, as you said, a little bit of smoke behind him.
It could mean the track is drying up, which means for the last of the qualifiers, it could change the game completely because they're going out there expecting wet, and it's starting to dry up as we got Dmitry, his E46. Going for his second run now. Let's see what Dmitry can do here. Pretty decent into the touch and goes. He transitions into outer zone 1. Doing a good job in filling outer zone 1 as well as he lines the car up for the transition of outer zone 2. Doesn't go too deep into it, but keeps it conservative as he transitions now into 3. Dropping a tire there, taking out a couple pylons, but keeping it within the zone. And clearing the zone still sideways and finishing out his run.
Yeah, overall not too bad for this run here. Doesn't quite make it out to touch and go, but enters into outside zone 1 and fills it majority of the way around. And a smooth transition to get out to outside zone 2. And there he goes, just a little bit too wide for 3, but then gets back in it. Stays into that outside zone and finishes out his last and final run of the day.
And we're already on to the third qualifying runs for Group 5. Means there's only 3 more groups after this. So we have Constantine patiently waiting at the line. A beautiful GT86 of his.
Judges maybe wanting to take another look at this part of the run here. How many tires he ends up dropping off. Definitely really close to 2 there. Hard to see on that angle whether it was 1 or 2 tires. Watch him finish it out in slow motion.
Here we go. Constantine in the GT86. Getting the thumbs up and the green flag for his final run of qualifying. Let's see if he keeps it conservative or goes all out for the final run as he initiates into that touch and go. Not getting into it though as he transitions into outer zone 1, making outer zone 1 look nice and clean. They transition now into outer zone 2, doing a good job through 2, holding a good line and some good angle. Now into 3, but having to get out of 3 early, too much grip. Now kind of just teetering along the edge of filling the zone and not, as he comes along and finishes out his final run of qualifying.
Yeah, and here we go quickly back to the replay. As you pointed out, he doesn't quite make it out to touch and go. Does fill majority of outside zone 1. Makes his transition across, gets into outside zone 2. and holding on to a good line here until he picks up throttle and drives out of outside zone 3, tries to work himself back out to it. He does manage to do so, and there he goes across that finish line for the last and final run of qualifying for him. So we'll have to see which of the 3 runs are the better ones for his qualifying score.
So we got Rostislav back at the line and ready for his final run. And let's send it. There's the flames we've been seeing every qualifying session. Woo! Hesitant coming into that touch and go, but puts it all the way to the track edge. This could work. Oh, that could have worked out for him. But he hesitated a little bit getting on the throttle. That's going to put him on a weird line coming into outer zone 2. But he makes up for it. And definitely is doing a good job into the final transition, but leaving that zone again, going back into it, but leaving it once more right before he crosses the line.
Yeah, coming in with a lot more speed this run and ends up dropping a tire across that touch and go. As you pointed out, he doesn't quite fill that first outside zone. Makes this transition across though and gets into outside zone 2. Holding pretty good pace here through the course as he transitions into that last and final zone. Drives off of it just a little bit. And it sort of just stays out of that last and final outside zone, unfortunately, but he'll finish it out for his last and final run of the day, and we're back around to Sergey at the line ready to go.
Here goes Sergey for his final qualifying run in that S13 of his. Nice and sideways from underneath the bridge, putting it right out there into the touch and go. Beautifully done into outer zone 1, holding it through. Can he keep that zone filled? He does. As he goes in for outer zone 2, filling that zone as well. He's doing a good job out here. All he has is one zone left to master as he holds it within that zone, but kind of gets hesitant on it, having to make some major corrections and near the end, but finishing it out nice and clean.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I think that is his best run of the day so far here, as we see him go through outside zone 1 of the replay here, transitioning across, getting out to outside zone 2. And again, last and final transition, staying into outside zone 3. Does start to drive off of it a little bit there, but hangs on to it. There he goes, finishing it out, run through.
And our final driver of Group 5, Dmitry in the E46. And the final green flag for Group 5 has dropped, and it's all down to Dmitry now for his final run of qualifying as he initiates in. Goes nice into the touch and go, and a good transition into outer zone 1. Looking good into the transition into outer zone 2 as well. Has a good line, good amount of angle. One last transition to go, dropping one tire over the white line, but getting it back and holding it together. Looking smooth for Dmitry as he finishes out his run.
Yeah, I think another really good run 3 for this driver here, transitioning across, getting out to outside zone 1, and following that white line all the way through it. Now, he does leave it there a little awkward, but makes a good transition and gets out to outside zone 2 when he should. Making that last and final transition a little careful here, dropping a tire over that track edge, but hanging on to it, as you said, and finishing it out for his third and final run of the day.
And that will do it for Group 5. Only 3 more groups to go in this qualifying session here of the Eastern European Drift Cup at the Raubichi Winter Olympics training facility. This
Yeah,
stream
fun
today.
little layout that they came out with here in this park.
Oh yeah, this is from what I've been told. It was also a karting track as well, and it's just a gorgeous layout. I think it works really well for these cars and their power as well. And the stream today presented by Racing.by, and the EEDC is sponsored by Monster Energy, Parimatch, Voca TV, Column Trade, and Ticket Pro. If you're a Russian listener in the chat and you're wondering where can I go to find the Russian stream, you can go to voca.tv or check out the link in the description of this live stream. As we wait
Yeah.
for Group 6. So on screen now is your qualifying session results for the first couple groups. And I believe Raman still has that top spot.
He sure does with that 95.17 at the top of the board. But Denise right behind him with a 93. And then Levikas, one of our very first drivers, 89.67 on the board to round out your top three.
Yeah, we still got 3 groups to go, so still lots of chances for drivers to take that top spot away from Roman. You know what's great? I didn't even need to look at the sheet for this one. It's Ilya. Boom! In that beautiful Lexus SC300, or also known as a Toyota Soarer, but seeing that it's left-hand drive, it's an SC300. As he comes under the bridge for his first qualifying session, right down into that touch and go, dropping a tire, having to make the huge correction into outer zone 1, missing the entrance to it, but filling the latter half of the zone, transitioning now into outer zone 2. Doing a good job through 2, holding the angle. One last transition into 3. Can he keep it in the zone? Not quite, but quickly comes out and goes back in and holds it in that outer zone the whole way around and across the line.
Yeah, holy moly, firing this thing in, dropping a tire, but hangs on to it, makes the transition across, and somehow doesn't drop a tire across that track edge. Keeps it going, makes a nice transition here into outside zone 2, filling majority of it. And once more, a nice transition. He does leave outside zone 3 just for a split second there, makes a correction, falls back into the zone, and there he goes, finishing out his first run of the day.
Craig, is that a Supra?
Yeah, that is a Supra.
As we have Nikita in the JZ A90 Toyota Supra. Beautiful car. Let's see what this car can do around such a tiny circuit as we see him initiate in way out wide to that touch and go. Good angle as he transitions into outer zone 1. Looking good and filling that zone. Good angle, good line as he transitions into outer zone 2. Doesn't go as deep as he probably wanted, but it is only his first run of qualifying. As he transitions into outer zone 3, goes out of it just for a short moment before pulling it back together and holding it around that outer zone and crossing the line.
That famous Gorosa Supra here, the A90 entering in almost all the way out to the edge there for touch and go. And then doing a good job here through outside zone 1, making a good transition across and almost filling outside zone 2 as well. And there he is, driving off 3 just for a split second, as you pointed out, and then back into it and hanging on to a really nice line to finish the course out.
Another familiar car, Artur. In that Nissan S14 with that crazy light setup in the front.
Yeah, Archer doing a really good job at the previous round in AZ Drift. Doing good. See what he's got in store for us today for his first qualifying run.
Here he goes down the hill. Archer's going to initiate in. really late, but getting good job into the touch and go as he transitions into outer zone 1, dropping those one tire through outer zone 1 as he keeps on the line and on the power, transitioning into outer zone 2, right deep into 2. Doing a good job here is Archer as they come through outer zone 3, keeping it within zones all the way through outer zone 3, and a very good first qualifying run for Archer.
Yeah, I like that run from Archer as we go to the replay here, entering in. Smooth line into outside zone 1, goes a little bit too far, but brings it right back in, and then makes a really smooth transition here for outside zone 2, getting almost all the way out there to the wall. And then last and final one, hanging on to outside zone 3, the best he can in this slick spot of the course. You see him dropping speed and dropping speed and dropping speed as he comes up to that finish line.
And the last driver of Group 5 is Nikolay in that E36. See, now I know this one has an older front end and the 46 has the newer front end.
Yeah, a little more boxy in the 36s.
Learning my BMWs. I actually got to race my first one over the weekend, and interesting experience. But now we got Nikolay here for his first qualifying session. Initiating in nice and deep into that touch and go. Ooh, missing out just a little bit though as he transitions into outer zone 1. Got to go fast like Sonic on the side of his car. Transitioning now to outer zone 2. Doesn't go that deep, but still gets the zone as he transitions into outer zone 3 now. But ooh, too far inside, leaving the zone. Corrects himself to get back into it. Takes out a pylon while doing it and finishes out his run.
Yeah, struggling just a little bit through the course in this first run from him here into the first outside zone. Doing well here, but then when he makes this first transition, coming up just a little bit short there and into outside zone 3 and drives off of it big time there, but works himself back into it, hanging on, taking out a cone on his way out, and finishing his first run of the day, and we're back around.
Now, if I remember right from the last event at the NEZ, he was having really bad issues with his car. So it's good to see him back out and getting those issues fixed and hopefully to go far in this event for the EEDC. So we have Ilya back at the line, ready for run 2 of Group 6. And the green flag is shown. Ilya goes off for run 2. Let's see if he can clean it up from run 1. Good initiation. Whoa, right out to the edge of that touch and go. And a good transition into outer zone 1. Holding it nice and clean. Keep this run going. Ilya transitioning into outer zone 2. Not as deep into 2 as I'm sure he could have gone. One last transition now into outer zone 3. And filling outer zone 3 beautifully. Keeping it nice and within the zone as he gets on the throttle and finishes out that run.
Yeah, Ilya coming in with a ton of angle here at that touch and go, transitions across and gets into outside zone 1 beautifully. Leaves that part of the section and into outside zone 2, as you pointed out, not quite as deep as he could have been, but then makes a really nice transition into 3, hangs on to that zone all the way through it, and finishes out his second run very strong. There, judges wanting to take another look at that entry. Just tons of angle there, getting all the way up to the edge and then flying through that first outside zone.
Back around to the Supra of Nikita for Carville Racing. JZA90. Did very good on his first run, just a small few things to button up. So let's see if he makes those improvements here in run 2. Initiating in is the Supra of Nikita. Good angle into the touch and go. Transitioning now into outer zone 1. Good snap to angle, leaving the zone just at the end. Transitioning now into outer zone 2. Does he put it deep? He does. Nice and deep into outer zone 2. One last transition. Outer zone 3. Holding it on that outside line. Can he make it through? He does. And finishes out his run. Very good run there from Nikita.
I think Nikita doing a little bit better job here in this second run as we get this a little side-by-side here. Does leave outside zone 1 just a little early there, but makes a good transition across, filling outside zone 2 this time. Coming down into 3, all the way out to the track edge. Starts to drive off of it just a little bit, applies the left foot brake and works himself back out to that track edge. And there he goes across that finish line for run 2.
Now Archer back around for run 2 in his S14. As we wait patiently, there's the thumbs up from our track marshal, and the green flag is off. Down the hill comes Archer. Good initiation in, right out to that track edge. Doesn't touch the grass. Tries to get it back around for outside zone 1. Has to come in just a little bit late to it, but holding his angle and his line, transitioning into outer zone 2. Going nice and deep, almost scraping the wall in outer zone 2 is Archer. Looking to take that top qualifying spot with this kind of driving as he holds it along that outer zone. Outer zone 3 clearing it, no problem, as he crosses the line and finishes out run 2 of qualifying.
Yeah, maybe not overall as aggressive as Roman earlier, but the line through this course is just fantastic here as he comes into outside zone 2 here on the replay, all the way out to the wall this time, and a smooth transition into outside zone 3, hangs on to it throughout the remainder of the course, and finishing out strong for his second run of the day. I imagine that will put him up towards the top of qualifying.
Now Nicolay going for his second run. Let's see what Nicolay can lay down here as he initiates in. Not quite out to that touch and go. Huge snap of oversteer, and around he goes at outer zone 1. And that will end his run for this session.
Yeah, unfortunate to see here on his second run of the day. Definitely needs to improve on the first one, and now with that 0 in his second, he's got a lot on the table for his third run here in qualifying.
And just on the wrong line, a little too much speed. And the car just grips up and sends him around. So now we get the drivers relined up, and we go for run 3 of Group 6. 2 more groups to go. So we have Ilya in the SC300, ready to do the final run of qualifying for Group 6. Initiating in is Ilya. How far out into the touch and go will he go? Right out to the track edge. Coming in just a little late into outer zone 1, but holding it around, leaving the zone a tad early. He transitions now into outer zone 2, goes way deeper than he has the last two. Now one last transition into outer zone 3 and holds it nicely inside of outer zone 3. Hitting that limiter as he crosses the line for his final run of qualifying.
Yeah, again, going all the way out there to that edge, transitioning across, getting in the outside zone just a little late and then leaving it a little early, but makes a good transition across to get all the way out there for outside zone 2. On a good line here, throws that car into outside zone 3, and then stays there on that track edge, riding through that outside zone 3. Little correction there before crossing the finish line, but overall, another good run.
But another man looking to try and take the top spot in quali today, and on his final run is Nikita in the JZA 90 for Carville Racing. We'll wait for him to get that green flag and see how he shapes up on his final run. And here we go. Nikita being released out of the gate. And these final runs are always the fun ones. He initiates in, goes good into the touch and go. Not all the way to the track edge, but beautifully done into outer zone 1, holding it right along that entire track edge as he puts it into outer zone 2. Not as deep as his last run, but holds it there as he makes that final transition into outer zone 3. Drops a tire, maybe 2, as he tries to keep it within bounds as he comes across the line for his final run.
Yeah, another consistent run from Nikita here into outside zone 1, all the way on to the edge and staying out there for quite some time, and then makes his transition across, grabs outside zone 2, and on a good line here, really good pace throughout this course as well, as he works just one tire off the edge of the track there, back onto it, and then across the finish line for his third and final run.
Now we have Archer coming up for his final run, another man trying to chase down that top qualifying spot. And the track is clear and off Archer can go. As that sun's got to be right in your eyes when you initiate in there. Right out to the edge of the track is Archer. Good transition into outer zone 1. Holding it all the way around that outer zone. Keeping it right on angle as he transitions. Look at that glare as he tries to put it as deep as he can into outer zone 2. Now final transition into outer zone 3. Not out there. There he goes. Makes the adjustment. Gets back into that zone and holds it all the way around. As that sun has now peaked onto the circuit and starting to blind everybody.
It certainly has. It's a good thing the drivers are going the opposite way of the sun here as we take a look at this third and final run here. And getting all the way out there for outside zone 2. Another nice transition here for outside zone 3, hanging on to it. I don't know, his second run I think is going to be his top run of the day, but overall another good run from him, and has shown some consistency here today.
And now to wind things up for Group 6, leaving only 2 groups for qualifying here at the EEDC, is this man, Nikolay, in his BMW E36. Had a big spin on his last run and didn't get any points on his first one, so it's all up to this one to see if he can try and make it into the top 32 for tomorrow's battles. Nikolay coming down the hill and under the bridge, initiates in, gets it nice and deep into that touch and go. Ooh, not quite into outer zone 1 though, as we see him transition now into outer zone 2, putting it nice and deep into outer zone 2. One last transition here into outer zone 3, leaves it, but comes right back into it. Will puts it all the way along that track edge. Better job there from Nikolay.
Yeah, much better job from Gorkovenko here as we go back to the replay. Almost over-rotating once again for outside zone 1, but he hangs on to it. Doesn't quite fill the zone, but he hangs on to the run certainly here. Transitioning for outside zone 2 with a ton of angle, and then into 3 as well. Driving off of it again just for a second there. Utilizing that left foot brake and getting himself back into that zone and finishing it out for his 3rd run. But as you said, that's going to do it for Group 6, and we've only got 2 more groups. Let me check the scores here, but I believe Roman is still at the top with a 95. That is correct. Roman's still at the top with the 95. Super aggressive runs for all 3 of his runs today.
Yeah, Roman just came in like a bullet, and that was back when the track had still quite a bit of water on it too. Looking at it from this aerial shot here, I'm starting to see the drier lines form, and yeah, he just came in with no care, and let's go for it. So we see your qualifying score, updated qualifying scores there now. Before we move on to Group 6.
7.
Group
7.
Group
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, we're almost. And not much has changed, especially with the top 3 drivers. They have stayed there all day today. But Nikita working himself into 4th position with that 88.
And here we go. The R35 of the car everyone in chat's been waiting for. This would be Mr. Gocha. Initiating in that beautiful R35, putting it right out to that touch and go, transitioning now into the first outer zone, holding it all the way around. Doing a great job here as he transitions into outer zone 2. Nice and deep into outer zone 2. He is on fire here as he puts it into outer zone 3, now touching that pylon, but not dropping a tire off the circuit. Look at that. What a run for the first run of Group 7 here.
It sure was. I mean, just bang on here as we go back to the replay. Smooth transition in all the way out to the track edge and then smoothly into outside zone 1 and staying there through the remainder of that zone, making a nice transition once again for outside zone 2, almost out there to the wall. And then that last and final one into outside zone 3, taking out a cone on his way in, but hanging on to that outside line and across the finish line to start things out for his qualifying session today.
Well, looks like Roman is going to have someone to maybe challenge him. As we have Boris in his E46. Ready to give his first qualifying run. The thumbs up is given, green flag goes. Let's see what Boris has to do for us here at the EEDC. As he initiates in, puts it right out to that touch and go, tries to get the car to rotate around, does so though, getting it into outer zone 1. Holding a nice angle here, one more transition into outer zone 2, puts it into the wall, loses part of his bumper as he tries to get it back online now for outer zone 3. Doing a good job at keeping it together and keeping it within the zone. He comes across the line in that E46.
Yeah, and here we go back to the replay, almost working himself out to that edge there for touch and go, but doing a smooth job through outside zone 1, hanging out there to the outside for very long, and then as you said, gives the wall a little tap with his bumper there, but hangs on to it nicely, still makes the transition into outside zone 3, and stays in that zone, and stays on the outside as he crosses that finish line. Strong group here, group 7.
It definitely is. We have Omitri now ready to do his run. I'm trying to see what kind of car that is. That's an interesting looking car. As he initiates in, tries to get out to that touch and go, can't really make it happen. Tries to go in for outer zone 1, but has to shut it down. Now just
Fortunate to see, yeah. And it's a Boss S14.
Yeah. Now that I see it from the side and a little closer up.
It looks great with the livery on it, but it's unfortunate to see him having to shut it down there in the beginning part of his run. So it will be a 0. We'll take a look here on the replay. Coming up short for touch and go, and then just super snappy transition there into outside zone 1. Shuts it down, and then really just takes a practice run from here on out. Does a good job into outside zone 2. And then coming down into outside zone 3 as well. Just barely dropping a tire there, trying to run that track edge. And does a good job at the later half of the course. But again, unfortunate to see him have to shut it down in that outside zone 1.
Yeah, definitely fortunate. But he still has 2 more runs to make up for it. As we have Timothy coming for his run. His first run of qualifying here. As he initiates in. Beautiful job so far off the touch and go. Making it work there through outer zone 1. Little bobbled, but makes up for it. Keeps on it as he transitions into outer zone 2. Doesn't make it into outer zone 2 at all, though, holding that inside line. Transitioning now into outer zone 3. Working his way back out to the rest of outer zone 3. Was trying to make work of the grip levels out there.
And here we go, back with that replay here. Good transition into outside zone 1. Couple of corrections there up front on the steering wheel. Transition to go out to outside zone 2 and then just drives away from it. Again, track could be getting really patchy by now, especially with that sun up. It could have picked up just a ton of grip in that section of the course. I'll have to wait and see if he's able to better his second and third run of the... I believe that is our last driver in Group 7, so we should be working around back to the beginning.
Yeah, so we'll be back with Gochan in that R35.
And looking really good on his first run as well.
And there he is at the line, the crowd favorite, Gocha in the R35. And he gets the green flag for his second run. Let's see if he can improve on his first run. His first run was already really good. Here he goes. Nice. Not as deep into the touch and go, but making a good use of it into outer zone 1. Holding that line and angle is now, this is where it gets a little harder to see. Puts it nice and deep into outer zone 2. Transitions into 3, knocking over that pylon, but keeping the line all the way to that outer edge. And making it work all the way to the finish.
Yeah, fantastic line in that last and final outside zone as we go back to the replay here. Smooth into outside zone 1. Starts to leave it just a little bit early this time, not hanging on to that outside line like the first run, but works himself into outside zone 2 along that wall And then here, just planting that tire on that outside white line there and hanging on to it for the rest of the run here as he crosses that finish line for run 2. Looking back at the scores now, he's got a 92 for his first run, so falling just a little bit short of Roman Kondratenko. We'll see if that's enough to better that 90.
He still has another run to go. As we have Boris back around his E46. Hopefully his rear bumper is okay. That just means he can put it deeper into his outer zone 2 this time around, because there's no plastic there to stop him from going deeper. As he gets off the line, the green flag is shown. And initiating in goes Boris. Nice and deep into touch and go. Transitioning now into outer zone 1. Looking smooth on the transitions as now we come into that outer zone 2. Nice, going right into the wall, dragging that bumper. One last transition there for outer zone 3, trying to keep it deep in the zone, had to make a couple adjustments. He's making it work as he pushes it all the way out to the finish line.
Yeah, good quick correction there for that last and final outside zone. Here we go with that replay, coming up shy of touch and go, but works himself into outside zone 1 and hanging on to that outside line for quite some time there, and then back up into the wall for the second time of the day. Transitions into the last and final outside zone, and there, as you pointed out, just a small correction to push himself back to the outside to fill that outside zone. And there he goes, finishing it out for his second run of the day.
Now ready to put down his second run after a big spin is Omitri in that Boss S14 for Almo Racing Russia. And he gets the green flag and down the hill he comes. And initiating in. Ooh, little hesitant on the initiation, but gets into that touch and go. Transitions the car into outer zone 1, going really wide. A pylon gets stuck under his tire, and that straightens him out. And looks like he's just going to finish out the rest of this run, but that was a big straighten. And there goes the pylon that got sucked up under his car there. That'll be all she wrote for run 2 for Omitri.
Yeah, another unfortunate one here as we go back to the replay, and in similar fashion here, this time a cone getting stuck up underneath the car. But it is unfortunately going to be another 0 on the board for him, as he does a relatively good job here in the second half of the course once again. So very unfortunate to see, but he does have one more run to get it together and get some points on the board for qualifying.
And here's the last driver for the second run group, or the second set of runs for qualifying out of Group 7. Sending it in that S14 is Timothy. Trying to get that outer zone, doing a good job. Not as deep into the touch and go as he could have been, but making up for it. As he comes into that second outer zone, doing a good job here. Just trying to keep the car where it needs to go, but ooh, can't get the car to rotate into outer zone 3. He's just going to try and make up for it and do what he can to finish out his run.
And here we go quickly back to the replay. Once again, falling shy of that first touch and go, but working himself into outside zone 1, hanging on to that outside line for quite some time once again here, falling short of that outside zone 2, and then coming really close to straightening, but hangs on to it, finishes out the run, and he will get some points on the board. Just checking on the scores there. Gocha's second run, a 90.33. So once again, falling shy of that number 1 qualifying position that Roman took very early on in Group 3 with a 95.
And back when the track was, not as developed and still pretty wet. And here we go. The final runs of Group 7. And to kick it all off, Gosha. So he gets the thumbs up and the green flag for his final run of qualifying. Hopefully he just lays it all out on the line and we see a really banker run. Look at that, sideways coming under the bridge, right out to the track edge on the touch and go as he transitions into the outer zone. Trying to keep it deep, but not as deep as he probably wanted to be leading outer zone 1. He transitions into outer zone 2, getting right up near that wall. Now one last transition to go into outer zone 3. Did perfect to keep that rear tire on that outer line. Can he do it again? Little bit more angle this time around as he puts it through the finish line.
Yeah, another solid run here, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to take that number 1 position, falling just a tad short of touch and go, then getting into outside zone 1 very nicely, but drives away from it early. And then here we go into outside zone 2, up against the wall, leaving just a little bit of room. And then into outside zone 3, where he almost runs the entire track edge all the way around. But I think Ramon might have the edge with that bit of aggression in his runs. We'll wait to see from those judges, but it's certainly going to be close.
And now Boris for his final run. Boris has been abusing the rear end of his car into outer zone 2. And we'll see if he does it in run 3 as well.
It looked it paid off. He got a 90.33, 90.33 in his second run.
Well, sometimes sacrifices have to be made, and sometimes those sacrifices are the rear bumper. And here we go. Boris going for his final qualifying run. Down the hill and under the bridge he comes. Now he hasn't been one to initiate till right about there as he puts it, decently into the touch and go as he transitions into outer zone 1. Leaving that zone just a little bit and pushing back out as he transitions into outer zone 2. Doesn't get, nowhere near as close as his first 2. Transitions one last time into outer zone 3. Doing a good job through outer zone 3 as he leaves it and comes across the line to finish out his qualifying session.
Yeah, he certainly does, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough to take over that second run he had earlier, falling short of touch and go. Gets into outside zone 1, nice. Hanging on to that outside line there, making a good transition here. Doesn't quite make it out to the wall this time as well as he did in the first 2 runs. Leaves outside zone 3 just a little bit, works himself back out there. He'll end up finishing out the run pretty strong. But again, 90.33 for his second run. Such a strong score. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. And getting a score update here, Gocha falling 1 point short. 94 for his third and final run, which will be his best score. So he'll put a 94 up on the board.
As we have Omitri in that Boss S14, he's trying to get a clean run in it. Let's see if it can happen now as he transitions through the touch and go and into outer zone 1. Not able to fill outer zone 1 as much as he'd like to, so he transitions once more into outer zone 2. Just grabbing it, not going that deep as he does a wide line to transition into outer zone 3. But that seemed to pay off for him as he fills that entire zone and finishes out his qualifying session strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I am certainly happy for him because we knew he was certainly capable of getting a decent score on the board. Now, you can tell he plays it a little safe here through this run, not quite filling outside zone 1, but overall smooth through the course and good momentum as well. Last and final transition, getting into outside zone 3, works himself out there, maybe dropping a tire. Overall, good, solid run for him as he was sitting on 2 zeros.
Yeah, so at least he got those points in, or those points on the board. And now we move to our final run of Group 7. Timothy in that S14, going for his final qualifying session. He's going to initiate in and go nice and deep, just touching out to the touch and goes. He transitions into outer zone 1, doing a good job to fill that zone as he's going to transition into outer zone 2 now. Want to put it nice and deep. He stays about the midway point, nice and safe away from it as he transitions now into outer zone 3. Keeping those rear wheels on the line, trying to hold it together, and he does. He finishes out his final qualifying session and the final qualifying session for Group 7.
Yeah, last and final run of Group 7, and doing a much better job here, I think, in his last and final qualifying run here. Good smooth line, makes this transition across, filling outside zone 2 very well this time. And last and final transition here for the last part of the course. Staying on that track edge there, but staying in that box. And there he goes across that finish line for run 3 and finishing up Group 7. So just one more group left to go. So the sun goes down.
Yeah, starting to see the overhead lights come on and no more blinding sun in the drivers' faces. But that also means that the track temp's going to get a little bit colder. The air temp's going to get a bit colder, which will be good for the turbos, but not so good for the grip. And if you stayed with us this whole time, we thank you for sticking around the stream and enjoying another wonderful day of qualifying here with the Eastern European Drift Cup.
Those of you tuning in late and looking for Russian commentary, it can actually be found in the description of this live stream over on Greenya's page.
So we just wait for the final group to get ready. Looks like the track staff are out there making some touch-ups, probably to the poor pylons that have been getting annihilated during this qualifying session, and to guarantee to get more annihilated tomorrow during battles. So if you haven't already, subscribe to Racing By and give us a like and hit the little notification bell so you get notified every time we go live for a drift event or other racing events that they host.
And just waiting for that last and final group to get to the line and get ready. Or you send them off for their third runs of qualifying. Again, really cool track, and I'm excited for top 32 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be really close between a lot of the drivers. A lot of these guys are very skilled around here, and then it's going to depend if it decides to rain again.
But it looks like the weather is promising for tomorrow, so we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll just have to see.
It always makes sense when there's wet weather involved. And there we go. Back to the start line camera where we can see our first driver of the last group of qualifying. And that would be Magomed Omarov, a name that's familiar to us casters up here, and it's good to see you again. as he takes off for his first run at qualifying. Let's see how he does. Initiating in, just missing out on that touch and go as he tries to get it into outer zone 1, but can't do it, so he's going on an inside line. Now he transitions into outer zone 2, nice and deep into outer zone 2. Very good job through there. Transitioning into outer zone 3, has to leave the zone just a little bit, but pulls it back together near that latter half of the zone and keeps it sideways and crosses the line to start things off for our final group.
Yeah, good way to start it off. A little careful through the run. Definitely picking up throttle there for that outside zone 1 and drives off of it, I mean, almost immediately, but does a good job to get into outside zone 2. Makes that last and final transition fairly smooth. Drives off the outside zone just a little bit, but works back into it and then manages to finish out the run strong in this somewhat new build for him with K24 powered Alteza.
Now Shabatarov in his S14. Good to see him back around as well, as he put on an amazing performance at the NES Championship.
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed watching him there. Did a really good job, and excited to see what he can do here in qualifying.
And here he goes for his first qualifying run. Down the hill and initiating in. Right out to the edge of the track for the touch and go. Good job from Shabatarov as he transitions into outer zone 1, holding a nice and angle through outer zone 1 as he transitions once more now to outer zone 2. Just keeping it conservative for the first run around outer zone 2 as he tries to get the car to rotate the angle for outer zone 1 or outer zone 3. Can't really make work of it at the first part, but gets back on the throttle and gets the car to cooperate near the end.
Yeah, not too bad of a start for Shabatarov here. Almost all the way out there to the track edge for touch and go, but really smooth into outside zone 1. Big transition across, over-rotating just a hair, having to correct it just a little bit, and then into outside zone 3 on just a little bit of an awkward line, driving off of it, and then having to work back out to it. He does a good job to hang on to it, and there he goes across that finish line again for his first run of the day.
Now we have Vitali for his first run from the VVS Drift Team. Vitali with those bright red headlights, looking nice on that S14 as he sends it in, getting that touch and go. He's got to get the rotation down for outer zone 1. Lost quite a bit of speed. That's going to put him on that tighter inside line as he transitions now to outer zone 2. Can't get to outer zone 2 either. He's got one more zone to try, and he's going for outer zone 3, but goes way too far inside for outer zone 3. And this is all of the zones here except for the touch and go, as he takes out a couple pylons for good measure.
Yeah, almost dropping 2 tires there before crossing the finish line. And here we go with that replay. Falling just a little short of outside zone 1. Hangs on to the line, makes the transition across. And again, falling short for outside zone 2 as well. And here we go, making that transition just a little bit too much angle. Picks up the throttle and drives right out of the zone. And here we see him working out to the outside of the course and has to make a big correction there to not fall off the track.
And now for Lipsky in his S14. Lipsky going to be making his first run. Green flag drops, and under the bridge he comes. Already sideways underneath that bridge, getting right out to the touch and go. Got a transition to get into outer zone 1, which he fills nicely, but leaves just a little bit early. He makes another transition into outer zone 2. Good job through outer zone 2. He transitions once more into outer zone 3 to keep it nice and tidy all the way through to the end. Can he do it leaving the zone just a little bit, but getting back on that throttle and getting the car through the finish line?
Yeah, not a bad way to start it out for his 3 runs that he has here today in this S14. Smooth transition across once again, driving out of the outside zone 1 just a bit early there. But big transition across all the way out there to that wall. And an early transition for outside zone 3. Has to make a correction there to stay in that zone and not drive out of it. He does a good job here. And there he is to finish out run 1.
And now the last driver of the last group of qualifying before we move into the second runs, Ilkin. Ilkin in the BMW with the bright front headlight. Ilkin making his way down under the bridge, initiating in. Lots of speed he's carrying as he hits that touch and go. Transitions now into outer zone 1. Looking good and strong. Beautifully done. Ooh, big misstep there from him out of outer zone 2, getting right bent out of shape and going to shut down that run.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to see here as he started out the run really strong all the way out to the edge for touch and go, and then really nice into outside zone 1. He does drive off of it just a hair early, but then makes a good transition here, has to correct just a little bit, and when he does, the car shoots forward way over the inside portion of the track there, and then as he comes into the last and final turn, he shuts it down, and he'll reset for his last 2 runs. Drivers reset for their second and third runs. Got Magomed back to the line in that K24 powered Alteza.
Alteza, depending on where you're from.
Or IS300.
Or IS300.
Or
yep,
200.
Either which way, Magomed going for his second qualifying run. Let's see what he can do on the second run here as he puts it nice and deep into the touch and go. Can he get it to cooperate into outer zone 1 this time? No, he can't. It snaps back into out of angle and straightens up on him. That's a qualifying run.
Yeah, unfortunate to see here as we go back to the replay. Real tentative there on that transition, and hopefully he's not having some issues with the car there as he quickly shuts it down. But he still has a 78 on the board, so he'll definitely want to improve that for run 3 if he wants to work himself up into a higher rank in that top 32 for tomorrow.
He definitely will, as we have Shabatarov going for his second run now. Initiating in. Decent job into the touch and goes. He comes into outer zone 1. Ooh, maybe just dropped a little bit of a tire, but nothing that's going to upset his run as he transitions into outer zone 2. Way deeper than his first run. He's got to be happy with that. One last transition to go, putting it onto the line, going just a little bit over with that rear tire, but keeping that zone filled the whole way around, and now just to power through to the finish. As we just see the replay there of Shabatarov's run, looking really good. Nice and dialed in. Starting to get it dialed in there, Shabatarov. As we have a tally. back up around in that S14 for the VVS Drift Team. And he'll be doing his second run now as he initiates in. Not into the touch and go area, trying to get it into outer zone 1, but not able to do it, keeping to that inside line. Now we're going to see if he can make it work into outer zone 2. Got to push out, but does not make it. Just touches the outside of outer zone 2 and completely missing out on the initiation for 3. And not able to hold it at all. Still making it through the course without spinning, but a lot of grip in that car maybe, and that's what's causing him to go into that inside all the time.
Yeah, you might be onto something there. He picks up throttle and just drives away from that first outside zone, as well as the second one here. Doesn't quite make it out to it. And then really careful on the transition here into outside zone 3. Wondered if he's just trying to make sure he gets some points on the board here as he moves on into his third and final run of the day.
Well, everybody's looking for a spot, and another one would be this man, Lipsky, in that S14 of his. As Lipsky awaits that green flag to be dropped. And there we go. Down the hill comes Lipsky. Initiating really early. Let's see what he can do into this touch and go. Does a good job to get into it. Gets into outer zone 1 and hangs on all the way through outer zone 1. Now transitioning into outer zone 2. Gets right up near the wall. Good transition into outer zone 2. Now filling into 3. Trying to hold it together in 3. Little bobble with the angle. Keeps it together, and finishes out his second qualifying run.
Yeah, trying to better an 85, and this might just do it here. Real smooth into touch and go. Doesn't quite get all the way out there, but really nicely into outside zone 1. Hangs on to that line. Very minimal corrections there up front. And smooth across outside zone 2 as well. There he goes, firing it into outside zone 3. Small correction there, but keeps it going. Hangs on to that outside line. And there he goes, finishing out his second run of the day. Just one more run to go.
And here we go with Ilkin for his second run of qualifying. Ilkin's going to be coming down now and initiating in, going into that touch and go. Ilkin keeping it together through outer zone 1 as he transitions now into outer zone 2. Nice and deep into outer zone 2, holding a good line. Can he get into outer zone 3? Misses his shot just a little bit, but filling the second half of the outer zone and holding it together all the way to the finish.
Yeah, this time putting some points on the board here as we go to the replay into touch and go. Transitions across for outside zone 1 and hangs on to that line. Small correction there before leaving outside zone 1. And a good transition into outside zone 2. There he just a little early for outside zone 3. Drives off of it, has to make a small correction there. Floats the car back into that outside zone. And there he goes across the line, finishing it out for his second run, with again just one more run to go.
Yeah, now we're down to the final laps of qualifying. Five drivers, 5 more runs, and then we are done the qualifying session here for the Eastern European Drift Cup before we get into top 32 battles tomorrow, as Magomed Omarov gets the green flag for the final runs of qualifying today Initiating in, nice snap to angle, just grabbing that touch and go as he transitions into outer zone 1. Now getting his car into that outer zone, having to leave a little early as he transitions now into outer zone 2. Beautifully deep into outer zone 2, right up against that wall. One last zone to go, outer zone 3, keeping it nice and tentative through it. Fill it completely all the way through, and that is Magomed Omarov's best run of the day.
Yeah, certainly. And after coming off a 0 for run 2, he's looking good here in run 3. Drives off of outside zone 1 just a little early there, but good transition across, almost giving the wall a little touch there, and good timing for the last and final transition for outside zone 3. Does have to make a very small correction there to keep it into the zone, but he does just that and finishes it out for run 3.
And another one on their final run. Well, everyone's on their final run, but looking to improve their score and get higher up in the quality list is Shabanarov Vladislav.
Yeah, and coming off an 88 for his second run.
And here we go. Shabanarov initiating in for the last time for qualifying today. Good on the touch and go. Good transition into outer zone 1. That was a very clean snap to angle transition as we see him coming into outer zone 2. How deep can he go? Not bad at all. Very nicely done into outer zone 2. One last zone to go. Not dropping any tires. Keep it in. Keep it in. Oh, that's so close. Looks like one tire out by the end of that outer zone 3. But very, very good run from Vladislav.
Yeah, other than just dropping that tire outside of that outside zone, this was a fantastic run. And trying to better an 88, this is going to come really close here as he fills that first outside zone, makes that transition across, puts down that power, and flies through outside zone 2, putting him on a really nice line to enter into outside zone 3. And as you pointed out, he drives off of it just a little bit there, works himself back out to the outside, and finishes out his third and final run of the day. And we'll wait to see if that will better his 88.
Well, 3 more drivers to go here today. Vitaly in the S14 for the VVS Drift team, going to see if he can improve his score. Initiating in is Vitaly, nice and wide, right to the edge of the track for the touch and go as he transitions into outer zone 1. Not as deep, leaving it just a little bit early. Ooh, almost washing out a little wide for the transition into outer zone 2. So he can't go as deep as he probably wanted to go into it as he transitions for the final time into outer zone 3. But can't make too much work for it, stuck on that inside line as he comes and finishes out his run.
Yeah, getting some points on the board this time here as we go back to the replay, entering in, filling that box there for touch and go. Getting into outside zone 1 just barely there. Does have to make a correction there before making his transition into outside zone 2. And then picking up that throttle, not quite filling outside zone 3. All the way around it, sort of staying on that same line there. And there he is, finishing out his last and final run.
And here we go with Lipsky for their final run. That's right, Lipsky. The green flag was waved. That means go. As he comes down the hill and initiates in. Wow, big initiation from Lipsky for his final run here as he transitions into outer zone 1, looking super clean through outer zone 1. Beautifully filled that entire zone as he transitions into outer zone 2, scraping that wall the whole way around. Did that mess him up though? And it did, and he had to shut it down.
Oh, unfortunate to see there. That was certainly going to be his best run of the day, really throwing it out there and just into the wall, just a hair too deep. As we go back to the replay, all the way to the track edge there, smooth into outside zone 1. Just as he starts to leave it, transitions just a little bit late there into the wall, slows his momentum down just too much there, and he can't hang on to that line to then be able to transition into outside zone 3.
Well, and here we go. Our final qualifier of the day, Ilkin, in the BMW, ready to close out this wonderful morning or day and afternoon, depending on where you're from or watching from, has been. Initiating in is Ilkin, grabbing that touch and go beautifully, seeing a bit of tire smoke, maybe starting to dry up around there as he puts it nicely through outer zone 1. Can he hang on through outer zone 2? Pushing nice and wide, right up against the wall for outer zone 2. Very good job. Can he get the transition down for outer zone 3? Misses out just a little bit, recorrects, gets it back in the zone, starts filling it, and looking like a very solid run here for Ilkin on his final time in qualifying.
Yeah, trying to better an 83 on his previous run, and he might just do that here with that smooth transition into outside zone 1, hanging on to that zone all the way through, making a nice transition here and filling outside zone 2 along that wall, and drives off 3 just a little bit, makes the correction, drops about a half a tire there along that track edge, and there he goes, completely finishing out qualifying here at EEDC.
Yeah, that is it for qualifying, and I believe you're the one with the active list. Mine doesn't want to seem to update.
Yeah, I'm having to refresh it over and over, but once it does, it pops up, and yeah, Golovnia is still our last score up with his 89.33 as his best run. Tally with a 78.5. Shabatarov 88 for his best run. That third run just falling barely shy of that 88 and getting an 87.17 on the board. Magomed rounding out his 3 runs with an 80. That third run being his best run of the day. So he had his struggles through his 3 runs, but got it together for number 3. There it is. Ilkin, third run, 86.17, which is his best run of the day. So he'll hang on to that score, and that'll round out our qualifying.
Yeah, that will do it for qualifying here for the Eastern European Drift Cup at the Raubichi Circuit, or Raubichi Winter Olympics Training Facility. And if you enjoyed the stream, don't forget to subscribe and press the little bell. This stream has been presented by Racing.by and sponsored by Monster Energy, Parimatch, Foca TV, Callum Trade, and Ticket Pro. We want to thank all the viewers for hanging out with us today and chatting along with us and always having a good time. We'll be back here tomorrow for Top 32 battle action all afternoon, evening long, depending on where you're watching from.
And again, the weather looking promising for tomorrow, so it should be really exciting day of battles tomorrow on this fantastic course. Wait and see if they put the graphic up on the screen for those qualifying scores. But it looks like Rahman is going to stay up top with that 95.
I mean, Raban's run was super awesome, super dedicated. I mean, it's kind of a given that it was going to be a hard one to beat.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it looks like the driver to come closest is Gotcha in his R35 at 93.
A lot of the viewers would be happy about that, seeing him as he didn't make qualifying for the Nez Drift.
There they go up on the screen. Ready to take a look at really tight scores here today.
So we just got to wait. I see the scores have come up on their end, but there we go with Roman Katastrenko getting a 95-17 at the top of the list there, with Gorche right behind him with a 94, Denis Klishnevsky with a 93-83, and Boris right behind him with that BMW, a 90-33. So good job there from Boris. Jedemias in his S14 with an 89-67. Oleski getting an 89-33. Nikita coming in 7th, right below Vladislav and Rotislav. Artur in that 10th place with an 86-83. Ilya coming in 11th at 86-17. Ilkin and Sergey and Vladimir all coming in with an 86-17, 85-5, and 83-83. Valerie with an 83-67, and Timothy rounding out the top 16 with an 83-17. So a super tight scoreboard there for the first top 16. Again, it takes a couple more seconds for it to come up onto our stream. So going from the top 16 down to the top 32, Timur, Andre, and Nikolay, 17, 18th, and 19th, with an 82-83, an 81-67, and 81-67. Dmitry, Dimitro, and Anton, they're coming in at 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Then from there down, Dmitry, Magomed Omarov, Vitaly, Milanchuk manages to make it into the top 32 with a 78-33. Sergey, Konstantin, Andrei, Pavel, Alexander, and Silvestris all making it in to the top 32. The lowest score of the day was the 66-67. So with the top 32 being read out and the battles getting prepared for tomorrow, I think this will do it for today's stream here at the EEDC, the Eastern European Drift Cup. I've been your host, Tanner, and alongside me, as always, is my great friend, Craig. And we will see you guys tomorrow for more drifting action here at the Raubichi Winter Olympics training facility.
Вообще был? Так можно я тебе сразу передам?